Have you ever been to the drive-in? If you immediately asked, "Weird, are those still around?" Well, you'd sound a little like a jerk. But the answer is yes, they are still around. And in the hills of Pennsylvania, one particular drive-in theater proves that this form of American entertainment is alive and very, very undead. Twice a year, the Riverside Drive-in in Vandergrift, Pennsylvania, holds its Monsterama. It's a 2-day, night event where horror fans of all ages, or at least the ones allowed to see R-rated movies, gather to enjoy classic monster films the American way. And best of all, you can camp out right there at the drive-in. So you're probably thinking, that sounds cool, but I wish someone made a video on YouTube about it and told me a little more about the event and gave me some things to do when the movies aren't playing and maybe interviewed some of the people involved with the event. Well, here it is on a silver platter, preferably next to a gross severed head. Okay, so you might not be familiar with Vandergrift, or maybe you are because you live there, and maybe you hate it because it's cool to hate the place where you live. But Vandergrift is an excellent location for fans of the zombie film, because it's just a short drive away from two of the most famous zombie locations ever. If you're not familiar with Monroeville or Evans City, then the name Romero probably doesn't mean anything to you either. And you've also probably never heard of Pittsburgh. So let's not worry about the past and let's check out some things to do. Okay, first there's Evans City, which unfortunately I didn't get a chance to visit, but it's where Night of the Living Dead was shot. It has a zombie museum, and it's about 35 miles northwest of Vandergrift. And it inevitably compels fans of Night of the Living Dead to make videos like this. Hey Ben, thanks for the footage. And of course there's Pittsburgh, where there's tons to do, there's tons to eat, tons to drink, tons to see. Plus, it's the place where Romero filmed a lot of his movies. And then there's Randyland. Yes, Randyland. You good?
And one more thing, there's a place called Bicycle Heaven. It's the biggest bicycle museum in the world, and it's 5 minutes from where we are.
So lastly, there's a big one, Monroeville, which features the Monroeville Mall, which is the setting for Dawn of the Dead. Duh. Well, it's a good place to kill a few hours. Where are we at?
Monroeville Mall.
What's that?
Site of, or the location?
Night of the Living Dead?
Dawn of the Dead.
Son of a bitch. Okay, what happens there?
Zombies overrun the parking lot and eventually get inside.
What's the mall look like today?
The mall looks not quite the same. The skeletal structure is still there, and some of the qualities about it you can kind of still pick up on, but generally, like all the stores obviously are not the same. That would be ridiculous. But
they shed their nostalgic sensibilities in favor of modern aesthetics.
Yeah, but it's still my favorite mall to go in.
Even though it is like any other mall,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It is, but because of the zombie history,
There's like ghosts of
it's
its
like
history.
we were walking through history.
I liked it as soon as we got in the parking lot. You pointed out the air conditioning unit because immediately that made me think of Dead Rising, and then I was like, oh, is that an homage to
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead? And you were like, yeah, of course it is. So that was kind of neat to see.
And then they tore down the JCPenney's.
And put it up with a
Cinemark movie theater.
As soon as the pain of this orange Julius.
Which I've said.
But anyway, at least Ben had a few good memories of the JCPenney's, which is quite possibly the first time anyone has ever had an association of a good memory with a JCPenney store.
Right. This is what it was.
Oh, you were a zombie too?
Oh, we zombified ourselves. And then
A terrible zombie.
We walked through JCPenney.
Uh-huh.
It was pretty bad. It was like taking like black makeup and just be like,
Kind of like you're a football player almost.
blood coming down here. Tattered her shirt a little bit. But we were in the JCPenney's and we went up and down the escalator.
The JCPenney's is now the what?
It's now the Cinemark movie theater.
And it does not look like a JCPenney's or anything on the outside. Unfortunately for fans of the original movie, and those who like shopping at JCPenney's, the Monroeville Mall has changed quite a bit. Most of the interior of the mall had been overhauled. You could spot some of the skylights or the Oasis, along with some minor details here and there. But for the most part, the old shit that people hated in malls has been replaced by new shit people hate in malls. And out in the parking lot, Ben was able to pick out a helicopter shot from the movie. He thinks
They'll do a helicopter shot over. You'll see like the strip mall behind it.
that strip mall.
Uh-huh. I don't think Firestone was there, but I think that was.
You see that parking lot down there, don't you?
You can see like the road going up too.
Oh, right over there.
Yeah.
So even though the mall had changed quite a bit, there's still that weird compulsion that comes over any fan of the film who's been there, pretending like you're a zombie. Not like anyone noticed anyway. Our terrible zombie impressions aside, I guess Romero was right. Consumerism is the ultimate form of zombification. Anyway, that's about it for the mall. Well, save for the visit to the only thing that alludes to the history of the place. The tiny 3-picture memorial tucked in a forgotten corner of the mall that some bro in Spencer's clued us in on. So I guess that's the only thing good to ever come out of a Spencer's, right? Oh, and one other thing that reminds you that this is the most important mall in film history. Yeah, that's right, Paul Blart fans. What are you going to do about it? Zombie laser tag, of course. Which I guess is the next direction zombie movies are going. I don't know. I guess if they can run, why can't they shoot a fucking laser gun? But the main part of this story is who wants to go to a multiplex when you can spend a cool night at the drive-in or a cool few nights at the drive-in. You can eat some delicious and relatively affordable drive-in food, buy some cult movies, or maybe even meet a zombie. And when it's time for the movie to roll, you can sit in a lawn chair or keep warm in your car. So you're probably wondering, hey, how did all this get started? Well, I interviewed the man who came up with the idea, who scoured the countryside for a drive-in horror revival, and I also interviewed the projectionist. Anyway, first let's meet George Reese, whom you might know from his cult film review and news website, DVD Drive-In.
Hi, I'm George Reese, and we're here at the April Ghouls Drive-in Monster-Rama at the Riverside Drive-in in Vandergrift, Pennsylvania. I've always wanted to do a horror film festival at a drive-in, and in 2007 I was looking for a venue to do it in, and being from New York, there's not many drive-ins in the area. In fact, my local area, there's nothing left. There's a few upstate, and I was looking for a drive-in theater on the East Coast where I could get to have the event, and I contacted a few, and the Riverside were the most enthusiastic about it. So in 2007 we had the first one, and it was moderately successful, and we've been doing it ever since in September, and it gets bigger and bigger every year, and now we're doing them in April, and this is the third time we're doing it in April. And so far, last night, it was our biggest yet.
Yeah, it was. We were out here last night. We were here for 2 nights. This is the first night first time I've been here. But Dawn of the Dead, my favorite.
Dawn of the Dead was a big deal to get, and we were finally able to get it. We show most of our features and trailers and everything on. In fact, we've been doing 35 millimeter exclusively for years, but now that the theater is also set up for digital, we can show certain films in digital that we couldn't show before because they weren't available. The larger percentage of the program is 35 millimeter. April Ghouls tonight is half. Last night, the Texas Chainsaw was digital, but the rest were 35 millimeter.
They all looked amazing.
Yeah, and the digital is looking great. I know some people are really against it. I'm a film, purist myself, and the technology is great. It still looks like film on the big screen. But it depends on what's available on 35 millimeter, and
Sometimes you can't get it. If you
sometimes you can, like Dawn of the Dead. Like I said, it's not available on on 35 millimeter. We don't. If prints exist, they're being held tight by the rights owner, who even told us that if we, we were able to buy the rights, but to show it, but we couldn't show it on 35 millimeter because there's no such animal. So now we finally got it, and there's a lot of local interest in the movie because it was shot. Most of it was shot at the Monroeville Mall, which is just about 20-something miles from the theater. So
yeah, we were there today, and it was cool. It
doesn't look anything like it used to. J.C. Penney's was the last thing that still looks like the old, but they totally, yeah.
He was actually there right before they demolished it to put up the.
Yeah.
I rode the escalator dressed as a zombie for about 30 minutes.
Why not?
What the hell?
You and a million other people.
So you have a website, and that's.
I have a website called DVD Drive-in, and that is a review and news website related to cult movies, horror movies on DVD and Blu-ray, and we've been doing that for 15 years now. It's hard to believe, but I use DVD Drive-in as a ways to advertise for the Drive-in Super Monster-Rama shows. And now with the social media, especially Facebook, of course, which has been great for spreading the word. The theater has their own Facebook page, which is very popular, and now we have an actual Drive-in Super Monster-Rama page, which has only been around a few months, but it's taking off. And then we create an events page for the April and the September events. So.
Do you have an upcoming slate for next year? Have you even thought about that yet?
For next April, this is going to be hard to top. Dawn of the Dead, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Evil Dead. These are big titles, but we're going to try the best we can. We're hoping that a lot of the people that came this April will be enticed to come next year as well. We'll try our best to keep it going. The September event, which is Drive-in Super Monster-Rama, I try to do it different, a lot different than the April show. The April show, we've been showing bigger horror films that have really elevated cult status, such as Dawn of the Dead, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
It also helps to elevate
and we're getting a younger audience that wouldn't necessarily want to come to September, which September is mostly 60s and 70s horror films. We have shown a lot of Hammer films in the past, and we hope to continue to. Vincent Price, Boris Karloff, that kind of things. And for September, we're looking at Corman, Poe, Price. That's the plan right now.
Anything. You're just saying you're exploring it.
I am kind of, in a way, I am promising because that's the way things are looking. But I don't want to. I'd rather reveal them at a later date. But yeah, that's what it's looking like for at least one night, Friday night of the show.
So, is there anything else you want to say about it? Is there anything?
I just want to say, if this is the first time you're hearing about these shows, again, it's the Drive-in Super Monster-Rama in September and the April Ghouls Drive-in Monster-Rama in April, of course. And like I said, 2 times a year we do these shows. I hope people continue to support it. If you haven't, maybe you can. We're getting people that are traveling from far for the first time, and that's wonderful. That was my intention, to try to make a Disneyland for people who liked seeing these kind of movies at the drive-in, and that's what it's turned into. And just keep supporting it. I hope to see more people in the future, and check out our Facebook page, Riverside Drive-in Facebook page, Drive-in Super Monster-Rama Facebook page for more information. We always do updates, and then you could find out the full schedule for future shows and give us suggestions or just say hello. And
tell them you loved it and you want to come back.
That's it. Tell them you love it, you want to come back. And
plus, Dawn, the Monroeville Mall is so close by, you could make it a trip. And then
there's a lot to see. There's the Evans City Cemetery, which I still personally have not been to yet, where they shot Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
That's in the general area. And then you got the Monroeville Mall. And there's a lot of history with horror in this area.
Do we have any special guests this year? Is there anybody?
Oh, this year we were able to get Paul Musser, who's one of the zombies in Dawn of the Dead. He's a great guy. I just met him a little while ago, and he's the plaid shirt zombie in Dawn of the Dead, and he's also the poster boy his image, his zombie image is on all the posters.
Oh, he's the guy that they made the figurine of, I think.
I think so, and they did a little nod to his zombie in The Walking Dead recently, which is nice. But he lives local, so we were able to get him as a guest, and it was just great that out of all the extra players in Dawn of the Dead that are making public appearances, we were able to get him because we actually used his image or that zombie's image on the advertising for this. So it was just, you know, and the fact that he's like kind of the face of Dawn of the Dead, which is our first movie tonight. You know, it was just great that we were able to get him to come down, and we hope to get more guests in the future.
He's signing autographs.
He's signing autographs and in the concession stand right now, which is, you know.
There's a few vendors set up with DVDs.
Yeah, we have the Monster Bash Creepy Classics guys.
All kinds of obscure stuff. Looks like there's some good prints too.
Yeah, they sell a lot of DVDs and magazines and models and T-shirts, and they've been coming for this for years. I can't even remember offhand how many years they've been coming here, but they always come in September and April without fail. So they're set up. So if you know want to do some shopping too. So we're trying. You know, we're looking for ideas. I kind of have a grasp on what people are wanting to see. It's just a matter of what films we can obtain and what's out there. And
so if you have suggestions, just contact you via
yeah.
Facebook.
Or the DVD Drive-In website, which is dvddrive-in.com. My email's on there. Yeah, -in. So, or you could just do a Google search; it'll come up. So, but yeah, I mean, feel free to contact us. So.
All right, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.
No problem.
And this piece surely wouldn't be complete without interviewing the man responsible for getting a nice, bright, and crisp image on the big screen. Ladies and gentlemen, the man known only as the projectionist. So the films, are they presented in 35, they digital, what do we have?
This is the first year for using the digital projector.
Okay.
But that is a necessity because there are no prints of Dawn of the Dead to be used.
Right.
And if anybody has them, they're not letting them out.
Okay.
So, and last night we did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Uh-huh.
That was in DCP,
Okay.
the digital cinema package.
They look great, by the way.
And that was the 40th anniversary restoration.
Yeah, it was a really clean print. I mean, digital print.
Right.
But it looked nice. And then Evil Dead last night, what was that shot? What was that?
That was 35.
35?
Yeah.
That looked great, too.
Yeah, it was a wonderful print.
Yeah, and how about Night of the Demon and Night in Demon? What were they shot? Or what
They
were
were 35.
35?
Mm-hmm.
And so tonight we have Dawn of the Dead being presented in digital.
Yes.
And
Zombie
is
Yeah.
also in digital.
And then the last two are 35 millimeter.
35. And what movies are those?
Right here on my list, Demon, House by the Cemetery,
House by the Cemetery and Toxic
and
Zombies.
Classic Zombies. Yes.
Was this event pretty successful for you guys?
Last night was probably hit an all-time high.
An all-time high. So it's getting more popular. every
It is
year.
getting more popular, but the movies have also changed in 8 years too.
Uh-huh.
Where we used to stick with nothing but the Hammer horror films and what have you.
Which is cool. I enjoy
Right.
horror films.
But you know, there's a lot of feedback. People wanted
Some crowd pleasers.
Some people wanted some zombie movies from the 80s. Let's move it up a little bit. So that's how April was born.
April Ghouls.
April Ghouls was born. And it was actually named that because it was the first weekend in April, first year, and it was cold.
It was cold. It was cold last night too.
Yes, it was. But we moved it to the end of the month, and Mother Nature fooled us anyway.
Yeah, we were freezing last night, but we got in the car, we brought our radios, and we had great sound. So what do you guys normally do? What's normally do you guys show at this theater?
Usually first run
movies.
First run movies, yeah.
35 digital, a mixture.
They're all digital.
They're all digital.
Yes.
So what do you have your 35 millimeter projector for?
George.
So
I promised him George was instrumental too in a lot of fundraising to get the digital, so
Right.
that the drive-in would not close.
So he's helped you guys out a lot.
Yes.
Is he local?
No, he lives up. He's from Long Island.
Long Island?
New York.
And so he basically just called around and found you guys, or he had been here before?
He like back I said in 07 was the first event. But he reached out and we responded by email.
Okay.
Saying, yeah, we'll do it. And I started out just doing it as a way to empty my freezers.
Right, right.
Because it started out on September. You know, it was after Labor Day. One more weekend, let's empty the freezers. No big deal.
Right. Freezers that you're talking about, you want to sell some food.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We wanted to close up for the year. Let's sell what's left and what have you. Now we have to put orders in specifically for this event.
Because it's so popular.
Because it's so popular.
And it looks like it's getting bigger every year.
It is.
There's a lot of people out here. There were a lot of people last night. It looks like they started filtering in a little bit closer to dark.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks great on the big screen out there. I mean, it's every bit as clear as if you're watching something indoors. I mean, the big thing was, and what scares people about digital movies. Yeah.
Like if you would go to like a convention,
right,
and they'd be playing a DVD on a small screen in one corner of the hall. That's what scared people.
Yeah, I've done that before. I've been tricked into thinking I was seeing Psycho once, and
right.
It was a DVD. I'm like, the FBI warning was the good one.
Yeah.
So what's your projector capable of here? Is it Blu-ray, digital cinema prints, right?
Right. Last summer was the first of its kind concert.
Okay.
Jimmy Buffett did a live concert from a drive-in in Texas.
Okay.
And it went out to like 80-some participating drive-ins. So that was the first live broadcast concert done on a nationwide series.
So you guys it's broadcasted. How was it broadcasted? What's the technology called?
DirecTV.
DirecTV, and you put it on your digital projector.
And right up on the projector.
What kind of projector do you guys use?
It's a Christie 2230.
It's a pretty impressive projector. I mean, when I started doing when I worked in a movie theater, we were still doing 35 platter systems like that. I remember static. I remember films ending up on the floor. I remember the mysterious green stripe the next day, and how did it get there?
Somebody missed a roller somewhere.
It was a whodunit, and it was not fun the next day after we got a green line on the print. But those days I guess apparently are numbered.
Yeah.
And you 35 millimeters basically for this festival every year.
Right. The 35 ran for 8 years.
Okay.
Actually 9 years as the sole projector.
Right.
And when we were going to go digital, George was like, he asked me, he says, "You're not going to take the 35 out?" I said, "No, I have room." So this whole room was renovated around the fact that this was going to stay.
Okay.
So it was taken out, completely renovated, and brought back in.
Cool.
So, but we still use our 35, even on our regular movies, for our pre-show stuff, which is our national anthem, and the concession ads and all the intermission stuff.
So it runs every night?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, cool.
It runs for about 15, 20 minutes twice a night.
Do you guys get any film prints in other than this, or is it's all pretty much digital from here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Studios have really cut back on the number of prints that are being made
per
release.
Right.
For those who need them,
who
haven't been able to go digital, or there's drive-ins that are just hanging on out there, still running film prints.
Yeah, cool. And there it is, copy of The Evil Dead down there on the ground. Cool. I think that's it, man. You've been thanks for your time.
Sure.
Anyway, so that about does it. I hope you enjoyed visiting Vandergrift, and I hope to see you at the next Monsterama. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, which is a strange mixture of how-to videos, headlamp and flashlight reviews, camping adventures, and more. Visit DVD Drive-In for more information on Monsterama and cult film news and reviews. Be sure to support Riverside Drive-In by going there and visit their Facebook page for more information on events and showtimes. Then check out Ben's website, Monster Popcorn, and Josh's website, Geeks Podcast, because they're awesome. Cool.